good, Went fam? For this episode, we actually got Songe LaRon on this episode of Wen's Pop Finance Podcast. So we're gonna be talking a little bit. Episode two, right.
Gotta let them know.
And what he started off Squire, which is basically like a SaaS business when it comes to barbershop software. And they've rapidly scaled, at a grand capacity. He gonna get into it. We're gonna get into other, subjects as well. So I want to pass it off to you, Songe, since you are a special guest and, introduce yourself. I think, a lot of our audience would like to get to know a little bit more about yourself. It sucks we have to do this virtually, but, this is the world we're living in right now. So.
Yeah. No, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here. My name is Songe LaRon, CEO, co-founder of Squire. And as you said, we're a vertical SaaS company focused on barbershops, men's grooming. We handle everything for these business owners, from booking, payment, payroll, marketing, everything in between. And we've been working on this for about 7 years now. Wow, long time, but also it's gone by really fast. So happy to share, any of the insights and experiences I've had along the way with you guys.
Appreciate that, man. That's crazy. 7 years. So you have a co-founder, right? And when y'all first got into the idea, how exactly did y'all get into it? Were y'all just like, I've listened to some of the past podcasts and y'all were just like popcorning ideas, but what made y'all get into barbershop out of everything?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say when it comes to ideas, like solve your own problem or like work on things that you experienced. And that's really what it came from. Like a lot of, dudes, like we had been going to barbershops for years, since we were kids, like decades, and really understood the space very well, really understood the community, the culture, but realized that there was like a lack of any tech companies addressing that industry. So that was the original, impetus for the idea.
Okay. So as far as understanding the space, is this something that you were put into? So for example, were you a barber or were you working within the industry? Or what exactly were you doing?
Yeah. No, I basically started it approaching it from the client's perspective, understanding that even if you don't necessarily cut hair or like run a barbershop, like you might still have a lot of hours spent in the barbershop, right? Waiting to get your haircut, getting the haircut, just being part of that environment. And that's really what it was born out of. But eventually we did run our own shop as business owners after we came up with the idea for Squire. And in that case, we actually were in the shoes of, the operator of the shop. So that was a dope experience as well.
Oh, nice. And how long did y'all run that barbershop for?
About a year.
So wait, y'all started the shop on some like, let me get a feel for what these people are going for. It was more so, like, man, I know how to chop hair. Let's do it. Like, and
yeah,
I'm trying to understand
it was
the process.
exactly. Yeah, it was, we were trying to build software for these people, for these barbers and barbershop owners. But like, we really didn't understand how to look at things like from their shoes. And at that time, it was very early on, like we weren't getting a whole lot of like traction, and like it was very hard to get customers to adopt what we were selling. So we had the opportunity to kind of take over an existing barbershop, take over the lease, like be the owners of the shop. And we said, you know what, like, let's just do it. Like, this would be a really great learning experience. So that's what we did. And we were doing everything but cutting. So we were like, sweeping up the hair. Yeah, cutting that I wasn't trying.
I was about to say, because I thought y'all didn't like
mess up somebody's fade. That's dangerous. I wasn't doing that. But front desk, managing all the barbers, paying the barbers, doing all of like the operations type stuff.
Oh, that's dope. Okay. Yeah, no, dude, I was about to say, damn, like if I went in there, I ain't know, like y'all got a chop. I was gonna say,
I'm not that talented. I'm not that talented.
Did you get a couple in though? Did you get a couple cuts in or no?
No, I'm. That's one thing. Like you got to know your strengths, know your weakness, know your limits.
Hey, he probably sneaked a couple in. He just ain't saying no.
I trust it. If I did, it would be an even better story. I would tell you.
Nah. So like, what was the hardest part out of that process? I mean, because obviously y'all have never done this before, right, in the past, and y'all like going into something brand new. That shit, every time you step into something new, right, there's gonna be challenges.
It's hard, total different, skill set. And the hardest part was managing the barbers, after we took it over within a couple of weeks, the barber manager, like the guy who was like managing everything, like quit. He got mad, quit, and it was just like really stressful. So that was the hardest part, like paying them out, managing them, making sure that all the accounting was accurate, and that's ended up being a lot of the stuff that we solved with software, and like a lot of the things that we built for was to streamline that process and make it much easier than it was for us.
Right. I feel like my parents are actually like small business owners, right? And you say it was like really stressful. I feel like some people sometimes like saying it's really stressful. Like you open up a business, right? It's like, how's it going, man? It's stressful. Like, can you describe that a little bit further? Kind of give people a feel like what were the challenges that you were actually dealing with at that moment? Maybe you had a breakthrough or like, you feel me?
Yeah. I mean, it's stressful whenever you're in like a new situation and there's an expectation, to perform, and there's expectation to be able to keep the lights on and keep everybody paid and keep the barbers coming in. Whenever you're doing like people management, there's always going to be like some element of stress. And like I said, when this guy quit, and it wasn't just like, oh, I'm quitting. Like it was, he was a diva about it. Like, like he was curse us. He was just angry, and like it was a very stressful situation. That's the other point. Like whenever you have conflict between people, that can be stressful. And then as an owner, you always have to have the solutions though. You can't just be like, oh, I'm stressed, I'm not coming in today. You have to have solutions. You have to reassure the other staff to like, hey, look, this person's not here anymore, but we're still gonna keep the lights on. We're still gonna keep things going. And here's what you need to do. And when you're doing that for the first time, I was never a small business owner prior to that. It's particularly not like in that type of barbershop. So when you're doing the first time, you're learning as you're going. So those are all things that were, those quite stressful. But like stress in and of itself isn't a bad thing. It's just something that you have to deal with and persevere through.
Right.
So what are some things that you did to kind of deal with the stress though? Like, did you have any hobbies or like what you do? Because man, that's tough.
Man.
Like
get some haircuts.
No, I'm trying to think back to that time. What were some of the things that I did? Like, to be honest, like, I don't think I had a whole lot of time because that was just one stressor of operating the barbershop. Then there was a whole nother stressor. Don't forget, we had Squire. That was the real thing we were trying to get off the ground. Running the barbershop was just a learning experience. It was just like a test lab. But at that time, this was in the early days, and we were struggling, entrepreneurs with the fledgling startup, trying to keep the bills paid every month. We hadn't raised a whole lot of money. So that was, additional stress compounding everything. And some of the things that I like to do is just get out of the office or wherever I'm at and just kind of like go for a walk, try to decompress, try to be around nature, trying to have some time to just reflect and like get out of your head. That to me is important, even to this day. So
do you meditate?
But yeah, I try to. I do not as much as I would like to, but I try to get in the habit of doing it like every morning. Meditate and like visualizing is also like something that I do a lot. Kind of like visualizing, whatever I want in life, the successes that I want to achieve. All that stuff's really important.
Yeah, I think that really works. The whole visualizing, man. When I was
everybody,
in college, bro, I tell you, I visualized everything, every grade, every step to every class.
Yeah. Bro, that or like speaking shit into existence too. I feel like Kanye is big on saying shit like that, right? Like I've listened to a lot of Kanye's old Breakfast Club interviews, right? Like from 2011, he's talking about like, oh, I'm gonna do this. And I'm going to do this. He like just keeps repeating that shit until eventually you look at him now and it's like, oh, he's done it. And, folks will be so quick to think like you crazy because he's saying stuff like this. But it's like, nah, it's just like that whole visualization process.
Yeah. Right? I mean, the bigger the dream, the crazier you're going to sound to people.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying? Like, so like what Kanye was saying, I'm going to be a billionaire. Like, he sounded crazy at first. And look, now he is. I mean, it's real. And it's something that if you talk to successful, ultra successful people, they all say the same shit. So that's why, it makes me think that.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I was gonna say.
No, it makes me think that that's some, evidence of how, you know, effective it could be. What are you gonna say?
Well, is there like a person, like a role model that you usually like, you know, ultra successful that you usually like look up to or like try to take lessons from?
Not like one person in particular. Like I draw a lot of inspiration from like different people throughout history. Some of them, you know, could be entrepreneurs, some of them are people who just lived through, you know, much more challenging, you know, experiences. So, and you know, I just and try to, as much as I can, like, you know, read about their experiences. So like, you know, somebody that like I, you know, inspired by like Frederick Douglass, you know, not an entrepreneur, but like kind of was entrepreneurial in what he was able to create given his situation. Like imagine being like born a slave and then eventually like rising to the height of society and having like the president like at your disposal, you know, to actually listen to you. So like somebody like that, and then it puts it in perspective, like our lives, and like whenever you get like, oh shit is so hard, like people before us had it so much harder. Like we're so privileged to be alive at this time right now in the 21st century, like this year,
Nah,
2022.
for real.
Like we've had it better than any other, you know, people in all of civilization, in all of human history.
Yeah, shit. My girl was hungry. My girl was hungry and she was like finna get some Uber Eats. Like
Literally.
shit. You feel me?
Like
it's
we're
like
living in the fucking future. Like people,
Yeah.
because we're in it, people don't really appreciate it, you know, because it's just like normalized. But literally, you pick up your phone, press a button, and delicious food comes to you.
Yeah. I mean, I was just having a conversation. I was having a conversation with my homie yesterday, and I was telling him like, cause you know, I'm moving to Colombia in a while, just for the fuck of it, right? Cause work from home. And he was saying, damn, that's a big step. But I was like, dude, things are so convenient right now. Like literally work from home. Like when are we gonna get this privilege again? Right? Like who
I think it's
knows?
here to
Because
stay.
right,
Yeah,
we just
hopefully
I don't think it's
stays.
ever going back.
it on some shit, right? And we just normalize shit to the point where it's like, oh, like this is normal. Like, nah, bro, we're
And not
privileged
asking
really
why.
to exactly. So that's big, bro. Like I think a lot of people don't pay attention to those things, you know, and it's really like such an easy time to take advantage of the things that we take for granted, right? And flip them to opportunities.
And it's still hard. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, it's still hard. People have challenges, and I don't want anybody to be like, you know, you're dismissing the things that they're going through. But on average, if you compare just like the average quality of life for somebody living in, you know, America or any other like, you know, Western country versus like the average, like, you know, in the past, like it's unquestionable how much of an improvement, you know, things are. Like we live better than kings and queens, you know, of antiquity, like an average motherfucker, like not a super rich person, just like an average middle class or lower middle class person has a better lifestyle than like royalty of hundreds, you know, or thousands of years ago. So that's just something to put things in perspective. But like, if you want to be an entrepreneur and you want to be somebody who kind of like takes part in shaping the world and the reality, like you have to be thinking like about the future. So you have to be like thinking about these things and comparing it to the past and thinking of like, okay, this is where we are now, but like, how is life going to be 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now?
Yeah.
And, you know,
I got a question. So like, let's say like one of the biggest things is capital, right? For minorities, like having capital, a majority of us don't have the connections, right? The networks to like connect with VCs and raise that money. So I heard you earlier talking about, we really ain't have much VC, right? We opened up a barbershop and we're still trying to like hustle it out with Squire. So for the audience who may not know, did you take, I mean, I don't know either. Did you take a full out bet with the savings you had? And were you just like, fuck it, I'm gonna make this shit work. It is what it is. Or like, did y'all have some capital that, you know, y'all raised before y'all took the dive? And if so, how did y'all go about, you know, raising that money?
Yeah, I when I jumped into Squire full time, we hadn't taken any capital. So to that extent, like I did just kind of go head first, you know, into it without really, you know, dove out of the plane without having a parachute on necessarily, and had to kind of build it in the air, and took that risk. But you know, we were able to
a little calculated though. Like
it was calculated. Like I you know, I put myself in a position where I had like a pretty high paying, you know, job prior to that and was able to save some money, and was able to kind of have like my own personal runway, which you have to think about, like how much personal runway do you have until you run out of money for the basics. So I had some personal runway set aside, but not not that much, and I also put a small amount of money into the company, and then the rest was just like money for me to live on until we figured it out, which didn't know how long that was going to take.
Did you utilize any credit in the process?
No, I didn't. Well, yes and no. I guess they'd have stories about like the Airbnb founders like maxing out mad credit cards to fund the business. So I didn't do that, but I did max out my own credit cards, like just on like a personal, like for personal living. You know what I'm saying? So it's pretty much almost the same thing.
That's tough.
Yeah, no, very tough. To go from being very comfortable, having a high income and just being kind of set from that perspective, and then like taking on all the risk, and then seeing your savings just dwindle every month, going down, 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 and not going up. It's challenging. It's not something that's easy to do.
Okay, so I'm guessing that you have any bread invested, like when you had I'm guessing you did, right? Like have some bread on the side, just working itself on the market.
Nah, not significant. So prior to starting Squire, I was a corporate attorney, and when you work at like a law firm, a big law firm, like you're not able to invest in like in the market. Like there's like a long ass approval process, because more than likely your firm is representing a lot of high percentage of these public companies. So there's like could be conflicts. So I didn't have any money in the market, and that was before really like crypto was like popping off like mainstream like that. So like, I didn't really have a lot of investments at that time. No.
Damn, that's crazy.
I started balling.
Right.
I listened to everything just going down the drain. I was like,
well, that's
tough, man. It's tough.
Yeah, I personally like. I didn't know corporate lawyers was like that. I know like IB, my homie be telling me like they came, their trades are monitored and shit. I used to work at a pension fund the same way. Like you got to go through the process, but like corporate lawyers, I would have been guessing like, I could do whatever the fuck I want.
They make it hard. At least at the big firms, maybe smaller ones, not so much. For the big firms, it's almost like iBanking. Like they all have all the same clients.
Right. Are you investing now though? Now that you like.
Now I dabble. Yeah, definitely. Now I dabble. Not anything like for me, like I know the bulk of my wealth is going to come from Squire. So like any investing I do is just kind of like side money. Like if I lose it, I lose it. Just companies I believe in, I put money in.
Right. What you looking into, or like what are some themes that you're paying attention to right now?
For me, themes are like real like basic like companies I believe in that I think are going to be around for the long term and like take part in shaping humanity. Like Apple to me is just like I put money in Apple every month. I don't care if it's up or down. I'm just going to invest in Apple because I believe that Apple is going to be around in 50 years from now and more. Same thing with Tesla. I don't care how high the price is. I believe in Elon, and I have even before now. Everybody does, but like pretty early on, I read his the biography, and I was like, I believe in his vision. I'm gonna put whatever I have into it. And if it goes down, it goes down. If it goes up, it goes up. But like ultimately, I believe that Tesla is going to be a generational company. Also, it's going to survive and surpass even Elon himself. So those are like big examples. And then, I do angel investing for like, earlier stage companies, good amount of angel investing also.
Hey man, but as far as like, so this whole technology talk too, like how was your transition from, the corporate world into, building the tech, like being in the tech space? Because I know there's a big gap, if you don't really know technology, it's pretty hard to start and kind of figure things out, like, especially if you want to build an app, like the process behind it, the languages, developers. It's really hard to work with developers as well. So how did you get into it? How was that process, that transition?
That was probably the hardest period, is just that early stage and being a non-technical, founder, and like actually figuring out how am I going to build a product and get that first product built. So I would always tell founders, like, if you're not technical, then you gotta be super resourceful to figure out how you're gonna convince somebody to build this, with you or for you. And there's always a route of like paying, but you're at such a disadvantage if you're not technical, to like pay for a product, because
Right.
you really have no insight into like what's underneath the hood, you know. And it's just like going to a mechanic and saying, you know, like I want to build a car, you know, and then they're like, all right, or, you know, okay, and you don't know what they're building under the hood. Yeah. So that was, so my theory was always, I don't want to pay for this, outsource it. I want to recruit a co-founder or a CTO. And that is the challenge. That was a challenge. We went through a few people who just didn't work out for various reasons, and it took time, a long time, to finally find somebody who had the skills to build what we needed and also wanted to join, you know, as a co-founder.
And so is Dave, is he the technical co-founder? Or y'all
No,
both?
we're both not. So there was
damn.
a former CTO who built the first version of like the product, like the MVP of the mobile app.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw an episode one time on Shark Tank, and this guy was trying to develop this application for like some type of like, he was in petroleum engineering, and he wanted to develop some type of application for oil. I forgot exactly what it was, but he had no knowledge, you know, in tech or anything like that. I think he paid like $3 million for an app, and everybody in Shark Tank was like, "Man, they juiced
You got
like,
ripped off." Yeah.
Did you not get on Google? Like,
right.
Hey, there's a difference between paying and being stupid, bro. 3 million.
That's true.
That's crazy.
True. Yeah, I would have never spent that. I mean, I didn't have it to spend. But even if I did, I wouldn't have spent that, man.
Yeah, they were just like, you know what, just get out.
Damn.
I thought you was finna say like 20K or something like this.
Nah, bro, it was like in the millions. And they were like, nah, you wild. And like, you know how many apps you could have built with that money?
Hey, he could have got him a nice ass estate, bro, off a beach or some shit.
Right, real.
Like, that's crazy.
Yeah,
nah, man.
But,
so
that's the process. Yeah, that's the process. You got to figure it out. Look, if you can't code, you better be a fucking hustler, man. You better be able to sell a dream to somebody and get them to join your vision, or figure it out. You know, so that's what we did.
So did y'all like land that Y Combinator after the fact, after getting the CTO? Okay.
Yeah.
How you get into that? How was the process? Were y'all just like, y'all developed an MVP and y'all was like, all right, let's...
Yeah, we had an MVP out, which was just basically just the mobile app to find a barber, book, pay, tip, and then for the individual barber to manage their schedule. And we had that. That was a product. We were trying to get some early traction. We were running our own shop at the time also. And that's when we applied. We applied like 3 times before we got into the core batch. We ended up going in summer 16.
Consistency.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
A lot of people just apply once. They apply once and they're like, oh, well, I can't.
That's me. I hit that whole I did it, I think it was last year, and I got denied. I got the nice ass rejection. Like, damn. I was going to do it again this year, but it's just like, I'm going to do it again when I get time. But how is that like whole process? I know they take you into like, they give you the resources and stuff. Like, did that feel like a relief to y'all? And y'all was like, okay, we finna make it? Or, I mean, obviously you have that belief throughout the whole thing, right? But limited resources really like be killing on you.
Just getting those resources, getting that stamp of approval, just the exposure to the community. It's so extremely positive for your business at that stage, particularly coming, you know, from New York. You know, at that time, everything was like very Silicon Valley, you know, centered. That was like kind of the ecosystem, the center of the ecosystem. And like not having connections in tech, and then getting into YC, flying out west and just establishing those connections there, and just being, you know, these people are like the elite of the elite of tech, you know, and just like being catapulted to that level is just like super, you know, not only is it still you have more confidence, but it's also just like tactically like very, you know, very helpful.
That's dope. Can you tell us a little bit about like the Squire application? What are some of like the functionalities for those who don't know exactly what the application is and how it works? How you guys kind of automated the process?
Yeah, I mean, now you can think of it as like the operating system for the barbershop, right? So like if you're a barbershop owner, let's say you have 5 barbers that work at your shop. They might be rental or they might be commission based. You use Squire. We're going to provide, all the booking for all your clients via mobile app or via the web. We also provide like a point of sale system. So if somebody goes in your shop and, they want to swipe the credit card, they would do that on our hardware, and it's all fully integrated into one system. When you need to pay out your barbers, instead of writing a check or giving them cash, you just press a button on Squire and the barbers are paid appropriately, how much they're owed. If you want to send a message to all your customers, like, hey, Valentine's Day is coming up. Don't forget to get your cut. Here's a discount code. You do that through Squire, just press a button and all your customers receive a text, or email with the communication. So really everything that they need, to run their business, is handled through Squire. That's high level.
Angelo, have you used it?
Crazy. I've never used it.
My barber got that shit. It's actually really convenient.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like cause like last time my dumb ass, I got a cut and I went and I had downloaded. He said he uses Squire, and I was like, oh, that's dope. Like I heard of them. We're gonna be talking to them. So like I was using that shit, and I didn't realize that maybe this could, like I'll tell you, but it charges you on the card, like on the app, right? Because I went to the barber and I didn't know that. Like, and I'm over here like trying to give him the card, and he like sits somebody down again. He's like, hey, like somebody else. And I get up and I'm like handing him the card. I'm like, bro, what you doing? Come on, swipe my shit. I need to get out. Like, So dude sits down. He was like, what's up, bro? I was like, I need to pay. He's like, nah, you paid already. But it's because like when you book, you can't see like the whole process going on. But I just like booked, and I was like, all right, shit, I'm finna get my shit Sunday. Put it in my pocket. And bro, I mean, that's by design.
We wanted to make it super, seamless. I mean, think of like that experience like when Uber first came out, right? And like you book the Uber, whatever, you get in the car. And then like you just get out. Like at first, people don't remember. Like at first, that shit was mad weird. It was just like, oh, I don't have to pay you. Like, and then after a while, you got used to the behavior. So we wanted that same kind of behavior. Like you go get your cut, you're feeling amazing, you're looking fresh. You don't want to dig in your pocket for cash and like tipping and all that. You just want to walk out. And that's
straight to the club.
Straight to the club.
Straight to the club.
To the point where you didn't even realize you paid. I love to hear that actually, because that's
like, dude, I'm telling you, bro,
really
I got
easy.
up.
It was really seamless.
I was looking goofy in a bitch. I'm over here looking at my shit, and I like pull out my card and shit. I'm like, and he looking at me like, bro, what the fuck you doing? And I was like, oh shit, I paid already. And then I walked out. So now it's like every time I go get my shit, you got your tip already. All right, deuces, I'm out this. So you're like, you'll get your next cut. So that's really lit. It. But I really love like the interface. Everything is so clean. Like, so yeah, Angelo,
that's great to hear,
what I
man.
was saying.
You gotta use it.
Yeah, I gotta use it for sure, man. So where do you see this company going in like the next 5-10 years? It looks like you guys already made a lot of progress. So what's the roadmap looking like? You don't have to disclose everything, but give us a little insight.
Yeah, I mean it's continuing to build what I call like the Squire ecosystem, and kind of going back to Apple. So it's another company that I'm just very inspired by. And if you use like one Apple product and like the entry product is probably like the iPhone, like you see that people start to use more and more Apple products, because to go outside of like the walled garden of the ecosystem like becomes more difficult. So like, the iMessage, you don't want to see that green bubble. you want to see that blue. You see that green bubble. It's like, what is, like, who's doing this?
Kick them out.
Yeah. And it seamlessly, connects with your laptop, with the AirPods. And it's just like, so like, that's the kind of, we're not a product hardware company, we're a software company, but like, that's the kind of like seamless experience that we want to provide for our customers, where we're handling everything that they need to run their business. And everything talks to each other. And then we're looking at ways like, how can we expand on that? How can we add even more value? So like one thing that we're launching and some beta is like, the Squire bank accounts for the barbers with debit cards, so we can start providing them with like financial services that they need, because there's like a very underserved demographic. So now when they get paid, instead of just depositing to their Bank of America, it goes to their Squire bank account. Now they can get access to their money faster. They can get loans, they can get cash advances. Like all that kind of stuff. So really moving more into like the fintech and providing, even more value, hopefully, to our customers. That's the vision, in the short term, the next 5 years, like continuing to really be innovative and just being like customer centric, customer focused on how can we improve.